Hi guys and welcome to the circus. In the past few days, there were a lot of card reveals that supports the different archetypes of Pale Moon. And one of them supports the specific archetype that I really enjoy, which is Nightmare Dolls. So they gave us this new Nightmare Doll, grade 1, named Nightmare Doll Marion. Shout out to Marion, my friend. This is you in a form of a doll. Look at her. She loves red like you. Anyway, this is Nightmare Doll Marion, and her skill is Auto on Soul. When your Workeroid is placed on Vanguard Circle, call this card to Rearguard Circle. This ability may only be used by a card with the same card name once per turn. It does not activate when it's rode upon. At first, I was kinda hyped about it, but realizing it sooner, it's not that good of a support. Okay, let's start breaking it down, okay? This card only works when it's in the soul, just like in the case of Jumping Jill, but upon re-riding or riding onto grade 3, you basically get a free booster or a 13k attacker on Axel 2. Actually, her skill is really nice. It's just that it's a hard once per turn. It only works one card per turn. That really made this card less powerful than it can potentially be. If it's not restricted by once per turn, this can actually be pretty amazing. Because upon riding or re-riding, if you have like 1 or 2 copies of her in the soul, you have 2 free attackers or free boosters. Now, we have the grade 1 Nightmare Doll Beverly, which is the best grade 1 Nightmare Doll in standard in my opinion, because it makes your re-riding hit magic numbers or get over force numbers. She can also hit force numbers because she's an 8k base, which makes her 13 on Axel 2. But that's about it. It doesn't really do much, especially with all the grade 1s we need in the deck, which are Brassy Bunnies, Beverlys, and Masquerade Bunny even, because you need to search out your Carol. So we already have a maximum of 12. If you want to add trapezes, it can potentially go to 13 or 14. And this new Nightmare Doll doesn't have that much room to fit on those slots. It can be a tech card. You can like remove trapezes and add her. But in a lot of ways, trapezes is more useful because it can call out basically anything. In the end, all other grade 1 slots in Nightmare Dolls have their own positives and negatives. But in terms of power level, this new Nightmare Doll doesn't have that much presence when she's placed on the board. Still, when it's released on CFA, I'm gonna try to test it out and see what happens because I still think she has some good potential, but I still don't see it happening yet. So far, what I can think about is when you check top 3 with Carol's skill, when you don't have a grade 3 Workeroid target and you have her as an option, you can just put her in the soul, and then when you have the ability to re-ride again, you can call her for free. Also, when you have her in soul and you're in it for the final re-ride, which is Alice, you can call another Workeroid and call her at the same time. So you have a free full column to work with. It's still something. It still makes quite decent numbers. Like for example, if you have Ellen and her, you can make up to 27 alone. Or any 9k base plus her is 17, so it's a magic number. Moving on to the next card, we have our Sentinel crit, which is Dark Side Swordmaster. She's the former crit as well in G, which works with Harry. Now she's a generic crit Sentinel with 30k shield, and that's basically it. I'm actually excited about this card because I want to try it out with Nightmare Dolls. You can make your trigger lineup more useful by having 8 front, 4 crit, and 4 heal. If you want to run draws, it's fine. But in my kind of build or play style, I would really like to try it out in that kind of ratio. Like I said in my deck profile, draws doesn't do much in Nightmare Dolls because you need to pop off as soon as possible, especially in this kind of meta where some specific decks can kill you in their first grade 3 turn. Overall, it's a solid card. I really like the dynamic pose. It's just kind of weird for me because it looks kind of like a Royal Paladin card or a Dark Irregulars card because of the wings and the shield and stuff. It less resembles a circus, if you know what I mean. Moving on to the next card, we have probably the last Magia Doll support, which is Moonlight Melody Tamer Betty. Once again, she's a former unit in G that supports Harry, so now she's released in standard with a skill that says auto on Vanguard Circle, when placed, draw a card and put a card from your hand to the soul. This first skill is already amazing in my opinion because it draws you a card and pluses your soul. It's basically basically a +2 in a sense, especially with Magia dolls where you need those units to be put in the soul as soon as possible. It's a really amazing ride target, and what makes her even better is her second skill, which is act on rearguard circle, cost rest this unit, look at the 3 cards from the top of your deck, put a card with Magia doll and its name from among them to your soul, and put the rest to the bottom of your deck in any order. This is actually amazing because first of all, it's a rest skill, which makes it free in a sense. You can use this from early to late game as much as you want, and it filter outs your deck. Now the throwback here is that she's a grade 1, which means you need to cut out some of your grade 1 slots for her, which is kinda hard in this archetype because you already have 12 slots to work with, which are 8 Magia dolls and 4 Masquerade bunnies. You can maybe squeeze out 1 or 2 slots by cutting out maybe 1 or 2 Magia dolls, but is it really that worth it to lower down your chances on getting them in order to have this card in your deck? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. I will try to play test them and showcase it in the channel, so stay tuned for that. To be honest, at first I was hoping for a Nightmare Doll support for the last double rare slot, but unfortunately it wasn't because the set already has 2 decks that they want to support. I actually had high hopes for a new Nightmare doll that actually matters, but what we have is what we have, so I can't complain about that. For the Silverthorn cards, I want to make it into a separate video because there really is a lot to talk about there. Also, please let me know what you think about the releases so far. Leave it down in the comments below. I really want to know what you think about these cards. It helps me out a lot, and also possibly share some feedback towards your insights towards this. If you also have some questions, feel free to comment down below so I can try to answer them. So yeah, if you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you next time.